Welcome to Electronic Document Archive Training. After this training, you will expect to know why we should electronically archive, what we should electronically archive, and how files can be electronically archived and retrieved. Kitchell has 3 avenues to electronically archive their files: Shared Drive, SharePoint, and Content Manager Web Access 4.0. Kitchell has one way to retrieve electronically archived files, and that is through Content Manager Web Access 4.0. All 4 methods will be reviewed during this training. Why do we electronically archive? It is an easy and effective way to capture documents. It reduces risk of file loss or damage. It saves time in retrieving documents. It saves money by eliminating off-site storage fees. And it's a Kitchell policy. Legally, we are required to keep our files for 5 years, and some jobs even as long as 10. Who should electronically archive their files? You should electronically archive your files. It's a team effort and everyone should contribute. What should you electronically archive? You should archive your artifacts, all documents that you turn over to the client, all project or program related documents including email, basically anything you'll need to cover yourself in a lawsuit. To recap, this chart depicts the archiving process here at Kitchell. The presentation will focus on Shared Drive folder structure, SharePoint upload, and Content Manager. Our goal is no more boxes and all files electronically archived.
In this section, we will review archiving through a shared drive. We will cover the steps from setup to capture. The shared drive is a folder-based approach to file archiving. It takes advantage of your existing network drive by imaging documents from predefined folders and uploading them into the long-term archiving system. The steps we will cover are Step 1, creating the folder and subfolder paths. Step 2, locating the folder path on your shared drive. Step 3, loading the documents into their respective folders. And Step 4, scheduling uploads. Step 1 is to create the folder and subfolder structure that will ultimately house your program and project documents. This should be a one-time setup. For CEM, please contact Sacramento IT Department. For all other companies, please submit your request through the IT Help Desk. The foundation of this structure lies in the document types. This is a representation of the document types your files will be categorized to. All documents must fall into these categories. The document types cannot be changed or altered. Step 2. If the archive folder structure has already been created on your shared drive, locate the path and familiarize yourself with the structure. The required folders are your job number, level 1, and document type, level 2. At your discretion, additional folders may be added under level 2, creating a level 3 for an added layer of organization. No other folders may be added after level 3. Step 3. Load documents by either using the Save As feature or by dragging and dropping the files into their respective document type folders. Loading files outside of the predefined folder structure will lead to unexpected results. Use the document matrix located on the intranet to identify what documents must be filed in each folder. When naming files, please keep these rules in mind. The complete file path cannot exceed a maximum of 260 characters. A document name cannot exceed a maximum of 100 characters. Do not use special characters like the pound sign, at sign, exclamation point, dollar sign, ampersand sign, or asterisks. There are 3 exceptions: a dash, an underscore, and a period are acceptable. Step 4. How to schedule an archive event for shared drives. For all requests, please direct them through the IT Help Desk by typing help into your internet browser address bar or by selecting the help icon located on your desktop. You will be directed to the screen shown on the right. Next, log in using your network credentials and press the login button. Please note, the frequency of scheduled archive events will be determined by each team and may be weekly, monthly, or quarterly. Next, click Submit a Ticket located on the top left of your screen. Select the department titled Invoice Router /CDM/AMX/Salesforce and then click Next. Within the body of the request, the ticket must include your shared drive address location, including the server name. Then submit your ticket. The archiving system will capture all new, modified, or added documents saved in the document type folders. As a note, any file name changes will create a second archived image. A new ticket must be submitted for each scheduled archive event. You will receive a confirmation of archive completion via email when your documents have been successfully captured in the system. An IT specialist may contact you if errors occur during the archiving process. You will need to correct those errors. This is a visual representation of the shared drive archiving process, in which documents are saved to the folder structure, the archive event is scheduled, images are captured and stored into the archiving system, also known as CDM. In this section, we will cover archiving through SharePoint. Archiving through SharePoint takes advantage of this existing program and provides an easy upload feature to move your documents seamlessly into the archiving system. The steps we will go through will be locating the document you want to archive, selecting the document, and archiving the document. Step 1. Locate the document within your given libraries. Step 2. Select the document you would like to archive. Step 3. After selecting the document, you may choose to press the Archive Document button located on your toolbar, or use the arrow drop-down menu located next to the document name and choose Archive Document. Once the document has been archived, the archived column data changes from no to yes. Archived submissions are not immediate and may take up to a half an hour to process. To process bulk archiving, submit a ticket. For existing SharePoint documents, please keep in mind documents being uploaded to the archiving system must have the following minimum details. They must have a job number and a document type. Please note the file name will be used as the document description, and the date the file was uploaded to SharePoint will be used as the CDM document date. For more information on SharePoint document upload training, guides are available via the Kitchell intranet.
Content Manager. Over the next couple of slides, we'll discuss what exactly is Content Manager, followed by a discussion of, well, where is Content Manager, or in other words, how do I get to it? And of course, finally, we'll discuss some basics on how do I use it. Content Manager. So what is it? Well, It's an easy to use, very efficient, and user-friendly application for electronic document storage. It's a web-based interface that's accessible via several ways, one of which is through the Kitchell Applications icon that's located on most of our desktops. If you don't have access to the icon, then you have the alternative means, which is to go ahead and in your internet browser, up at the top in the address bar, type in http:// content manager with no spaces. Hit enter and you'll be redirected to the logon screen for Content Manager. Through Content Manager, all stored documents are retrievable regardless of how the document was archived. Should you have actually uploaded a document using CDM, well, you can retrieve that same document through Content Manager. Should you have uploaded the stored document through the SharePoint archiver, once again, you can retrieve that document via Content Manager. And of course, finally, had you used the Share Drive archiver, well, of course, then you could have used Content Manager again to retrieve that same document. So if you haven't figured it out, it really doesn't matter which way you upload a document, you can still retrieve the electronic document via Content Manager. Now that we've discussed what it is, let's move on to where is it located? Better yet, how do I get to it? There are really three basic steps to gaining access into Content Manager. Step 1 includes selecting a method of which you want to arrive at the logon screen for Content Manager. You're either going to use Kitchell Applications, there are really two ways of getting to Kitchell Applications, or you're going to use the address bar, or should I say the internet browser address bar. From Kitchell Applications, you can either do one of two things. Select the icon, as previously mentioned, that in some cases is located on your desktop. If not, you can also gain access to the Kitchell application screens through the intranet. There's a quick link right on the home page of our Kitchell intranet. And again, if you're not using the Kitchell Applications approach, simply typing Content Manager in your internet browser's address bar will also take you to the logon screen. Now going back a moment, if you are using Kitchell Applications, Step 2 actually includes selecting the Content Manager icon, which would then redirect you to Step 3, which is the Content Manager logon screen, which requires both a username and a password. Now that we've reviewed the three basic steps on what it takes to gain access into Content Manager, let's actually walk through them. On the right-hand side, you'll see Step 1. There are two options in Step 1, as we previously discussed. There's the Kitchell Applications icon for those of you that have it located on your desktop. Should you not have that icon, not a problem, there's an alternative. The alternative is to navigate to the Kitchell intranet page. And on the home page, you'll notice under the quick links, scroll down just a little bit, and you'll see the blue arrow. The blue arrow highlights a Kitchell Applications link. Select it, and it will take you to the exact same place as the Kitchell Applications icon would have. Step 2. Once you've used either the Kitchell intranet quick link to Kitchell Applications or the Kitchell Applications icon located on your desktop, you will be redirected to the following screen. Here, you'll select the Content Manager icon. Step 3, the third and final step before gaining access into Content Manager. You've arrived at the logon screen. Here, you'll enter your username and your password, and then press the logon button, which will then redirect you into Content Manager. However, if you do not remember your password, or have never been sent or issued a password, please submit a help desk ticket. To log a ticket, type in the following: http://help, and you'll be redirected to the ticket system, and you can gain the access that you need shortly thereafter. Now that we've discussed what is Content Manager, where is Content Manager located, let's get into the basics of how do I use Content Manager. First time settings. Before we actually get into the basics of how to use Content Manager, there are 4 basic housekeeping steps that we need to conduct or check on before we can actually use the product for the first time. Step 1, the icon that says User Settings, you can see it on the screen to the right here. Select that button. Step 2, as you can see, the User Settings menu has popped up. From here, there are several boxes that we need to be certain that are checked in order for the system to work properly. The following 3 checkboxes must be checked: Enable Interactive Viewer, Enable Annotation Toolbar, and Pop-up Notes window if Note exists. If those 3 are at a minimum are not checked, a few things may not work as you would hope. For example, Enable Annotation Toolbar is specific to the rubber stamping option, which is used quite often in invoice routing. Pop-up notes, that actually pertains to, in some instances, for example, in Invoice Router, there are little notes that a user may add to each document. Well, if this feature is not turned on, those notes will not pop up, and you may miss something that could be considered very important. Once you've exited the User Settings menu, Step 3 begins by hovering over the Help button, and towards the bottom of that icon, there's a pull-down arrow. Select the pull-down arrow, and the following options will appear: About and Check Installed Components. As part of Step 3, select Checked Installed Components. Once you've selected Check Installed Components, the following screen will display. In Step 4, be certain that the following components are installed. At the bottom of the screen, highlighted in yellow, we want to make sure that Application Extender Adobe Component and Application Extender Key View Component have both been installed. And if you can look to the right-hand side of both of those items, you'll see on the screen, in this instance, that both have been installed. In the event that neither the Application Extender Adobe component nor the Application Extender Key View component were installed on your system, it's not a problem. If you work for CEM, then contact Sacramento IT and they can help load those items onto your computer for you. If you work for KCI or HD, then please contact IT through the use of a help desk ticket. When submitting a ticket, the following screen will display. Be sure to select Network and PC Support option in order to have these 2 components installed on your computer. Now that we've completed our first time settings housekeeping items, let's begin by actually getting into the basics on how to use the product. Let's discuss uploading a document. With the document upload process, there are really 6 basic steps. First, we find the New Document button located along the ribbon on the top of the screen. Then, we select Browse, followed by locating the document that we want to upload, press the Open Document button, and then enter any required data that you'll see displayed, and finally press Save. And with that, the document is now a part of the electronic archiving system. Now that we've seen the overview of the 6 basic steps required to upload a document into the system, let's go ahead and walk through them and begin with step 1. At the top of the screen, in the ribbon, there's a button labeled New Document. Go ahead and select that. Once you've selected the New Document button, the following screen will display. Before we move on, the first thing that you should do to check to make sure that the uploaded file is sent to the appropriate place, at the top of this screen, you'll see Content Type and a pull-down menu just to the right of it. Be certain that Job Files has been selected, and if so, at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, go ahead and select the Browse button. Moving on to step 3. Once you've selected the Browse button, the following Windows Explorer screen will display. Find the file that you want to upload, select the file of choice, and then when you're all set, at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, select Open. Once you've selected the Open button, the following Import New Document screen will appear once again. The upper blue arrow indicates the file that you've selected. Be certain that it's correct. And before moving on, at the top of the screen, you'll see Content Type yet again. To the right, you should see the term Job Files in gray. If not, cancel and start the process again. However, if Job Files is listed, then move on by selecting the Open Document button in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. Step 5. The document that you selected will appear. Before moving on, please go ahead and, now that you can see the document, review it to be certain that it is in fact the correct document that you intend to commit to the system. If so, on the left-hand side, in red font, you'll notice 4 fields that require information in order to move on and commit this document to the system. The 4 fields are the following: job number, document type, document date, and document description. Each file that you upload in the system must have this information in order to index it correctly and for use later on down the road to be able to retrieve documents. The job number should be very simple. You should have a job number to associate this particular document with. The document type, there are approximately 28 to 29 different options depending on which operating company you happen to be with. If you're uncertain, on the intranet, under Tools and Applications, Construction Documents, there are 2 lists, one called CEM Document List, and there is one called KCI Document List. Both lists will help you understand exactly how you should index your documents into the system. The document date, well, that should be quite simple. It's the date the document was actually created. And the document description, please give a brief description of what it is you're uploading into the system. Finally, step 6 to the document upload process. Once you've verified that the document is correct, and enter the minimum amount of information on the left-hand side of the screen. At this point, in the ribbon at the top of the screen, select the Save button. This will commit this document to the archives for future indexing as well as retrieval. You've now completed the document upload process.
Now that we've reviewed the steps that are necessary to upload a document into the system, let's move on. Our next topic will be document retrieval. Within Content Manager, there are really 5 different means of retrieving document images. You'll begin by using a basic search function. And to further refine your search, you'll use either summarize or filter. Both will help you narrow down the search to find the exact document that it is that you're looking for. And once you've found that document, there are two means of extracting that document for further use. You can either email a link to yourself or to someone else, or you can go ahead and email an attachment from the system. And if neither one of those is what you're looking to do, you can also print the document right from within Content Manager. Let's move on by starting with the basic search. In order to retrieve a document from within Content Manager, you'll begin by using a document search. The following 5 steps will walk you through a basic search to locate the document that it is you're trying to retrieve. Step 1 begins by selecting content type job files. Moving on to step 2, you'll select new query, and step 3, enter search criteria. Step 4, press the search button, and of course step 5, you will have found your document. Now that we've looked at the overview of the steps required to retrieve a document via the search function, let's actually walk through them step by step. In step 1, we'll begin on the left-hand side of the display. You'll see under the Home tab the option that says Content Types. Notice the blue arrow. If necessary, you may need to click on Content Types to display further options. And once you've done so, let's move on to step number 2, which is select job files. Again, you may have to double click on job files to be able to see the options below it. And within step 2, double click on new query, and when you've selected new query, on the right hand side, additional fields will display that will allow you to begin your search. Step 3. Let's actually begin the search based on the criteria that we want to use to find the document that we are going to retrieve. In this example, we're going to use job name as the field that we want to use as our criteria. And in fact, we're looking for, in this case, KCI Test A job name. Now, if you do not know exact name of the project, not a problem. In Content Manager, you can use a wildcard to help refine your search, or rather to define your search. Although not used in this one, on the previous slide, the example was based on job number, and we didn't know the exact job number, therefore we added an asterisk at the end of the first several digits. Perfectly acceptable for searching within Content Manager. Step 4. Once we've entered the criteria that we're going to use to define our search, in the lower right hand corner of the screen you'll notice 2 buttons, Clear and Search. In this case, we're going to select the Search button. Step 4 continued. We've selected the Search button, and now the Search Results tab will display a list of results based on your search criteria. In the example, a wildcard was used, as seen in steps 1 and 2 of this process. A variety of different files will appear with job numbers that begin with 480. Again, if you recall, in steps 1 and 2, the criteria that we had entered was 480 asterisk. Now you're seeing the results of that search. Step 4 continued once again. The idea is to show 2 different examples with 2 different criterias and the different types of results that will display. If you recall, in steps 3 and 4, we used job name as the criteria. You'll notice that the search is somewhat more refined than just using the job number. However, there are still a reasonably large amount of results that are displayed. Had this been a large project, the number of results could have been quite large. Step 5. The final step in completing a basic search. Now that the results have been returned, based on the criteria that we've entered in previous steps, we can go ahead and begin locating the document that we'd hoped to retrieve. Go ahead and move your mouse over the document that you want to retrieve and conduct a single left click. That will highlight the document. And if certain that that is the correct document, go ahead and double click on the file and it will open. Now that we've conducted a basic search, as we've seen, a basic search can return a large number of results. So, in order to further refine that search and find the document that it is that we're looking to retrieve, Content Manager offers at least 2 additional ways to further define the search. One of them is summarizing. Summarizing can also be considered grouping of information. There are 4 basic steps to complete the grouping and/or summarizing of your results. Step 1 requires that you complete a basic search. Step 2, select the appropriate column heading that you would like to use to group the information by. And step 3, drag the column heading up to the top of the screen. And step 4, select your document. Summarizing. Let's go ahead and walk through the 4 steps required to summarize your data and further refine your search. Step 1, as mentioned, requires performing a very basic search. And in the example that we're going to use, we're going to enter the entire job number. And once you've done so, again as previously noted, select the search button in the lower right hand corner of the screen. After completing the basic search, the Search Results tab will display. To begin summarizing or grouping the data, select the column heading you wish to group by and perform a single left click on the heading of that column. And in this example, there are 2 arrows. Notice the one on the right. It's pointing to document type. Now that we've selected the column heading document type, let's go ahead and drag that heading into the gray area next to where it says Grouped By. Note the blue arrow. And once we've done that, go ahead and let go of the column heading. The data will then redisplay itself grouped by document types. And in the example you can see meeting minutes, RFIs, schedules, and subcontractor. Those are the document types that the search results will now be grouped by. Step 4. We've now grouped the data. Now it's time to select the record or file that we want to retrieve. To complete this process, locate the intended document, then perform a single left click on the file to select it. To open the document, go ahead and double click on it, and that will actually open the file. In the previous slides, we used summarizing and/or grouping to help us organize the results of our basic search. That was one way to help us easily locate the file that we were looking for. However, instead of summarizing and/or grouping, we could have actually filtered the data to further refine our search and possibly find the document much quicker. In the following slides, we'll go ahead and walk through the 4 steps that are required to conduct a basic filter. In step 1, of course, we have to complete the basic search process. And then in step 2, we'll select the appropriate column heading. And in step 3, we'll select the appropriate filtering criteria. And in step 4, we'll locate and open the document of choice. Let's go ahead and further refine our search by using the filtering function. Again, just like in summarizing, step 1 includes performing a basic search. And in the example shown here, our search will be based on job name. You'll notice the full job name has been used for this example, followed by selecting the search button in the lower right-hand corner when ready. Let's go ahead and begin and further refine our search by way of filtering. You'll notice the blue arrow towards the upper portion of the screen. It's hovering over the black highlighted headings. Let's go ahead and select by left-clicking Document Type. But in fact, let's actually select the little funnel icon just to the right of the word Document Type. Now that you've selected the funnel icon, you'll notice that a new menu will display. It's the filtering criteria that you can use to further refine your search. You'll notice the first couple of boxes are very specific to document type: meeting minutes, RFI, schedules, and subcontractor. Directly below that, there's some formulas that you could use to further refine your search for things like filtering between certain ranges of dates and such. And in the example here, the filtering criteria has actually already been applied based on document type, meeting minutes. And you'll notice that the number of files quickly filtered from 9 files down to 2, thus further refining our search and making it much easier to locate the document of choice. Step 4. Now that you've further refined your search and have whittled your results down to just 2 files, determine which file you wish to open. Go ahead and left-click on it. The system will highlight the item, and if you're certain that's the correct file, go ahead and double-click on the item. Once you've double-clicked on the item, you've essentially completed the filtering process. You've retrieved and opened your document of choice. From here, you can move on to things like emailing the document or printing the document.
Emailing a document in Content Manager. There are 4 steps. Step 1 is to locate and open the document to be emailed. Step 2 is to locate the email icon on the toolbar ribbon. See blue arrow. Trigger the pull-down menu on the email icon and determine one of 2 options. Through Content Manager, the document can be emailed as an attachment or as a link. Emailing links can only be used within the Kitchell network. Once method is selected, you must enter the recipient's email or email addresses and fill in the subject field. Then press send. When emailing a link, the same information, subject and email address, are required as well. Remember, only the people in the Kitchell network are able to open the link. This is what the emailed link will look like when received. The recipient will need to click on the link, and once logged into Content Manager, the document will automatically open. Printing a document in Content Manager. Locate and open the document you would like to print. Select the print option on the toolbar. See red arrow. Option A will print the current page, while option B will print the entire document. Select the correct printer on the dialog box. See blue arrow. And then press OK to print. In summary, why do we electronically archive files? To save money and time and reduce risk of loss and damage. What should you electronically archive? You should archive your artifacts, all documents that you turn over to the client, all project or program related documents including email, basically anything you'll need to cover yourself in a lawsuit. Kitchell has 3 avenues to electronically archive their files: Shared Drive, SharePoint, and Content Manager Web Access 4.0. How can files be retrieved? With the Content Manager. This concludes your electronic document archiving training.